Peace to the fam. This is Brandon B. Dixon. And you tune into another episode of There Is No Spoon. I got my brother from another mother here, Stephen, aka Chop. You know what I'm saying? Stephen Contreras under the weather today, so we're gonna keep on rocking. Actually, this was his clip, so I'm not sure what happened on that note, but this was his clip that we're gonna play. I'm gonna play just a little bit of it, then we're just gonna go in, on it real quickly, and just build right fast off of it. Let me go ahead play. It's on Phenomenology. Let me go ahead and get that going. Let me share the screen real fast. All right, can you see this?
For sure, yeah.
Let me go ahead and rock it.
We know when we're aware, right? So when I'm asleep, I'm no longer conscious, as it were, right? Or at least not in the typical sense. You might say that I have sort of unconscious. We won't get into that at the moment, though that's fascinating. But when I wake up the next day, I become conscious, and then because there's, as it were, a time delay in between the last time I was conscious, I can recognize that I can also be unconscious. So what is consciousness? And I'm going to sort of jump to some of the things we're going to talk about a lot later. Jump to the, what do I want to say here, to the sort of heart of the matter, is the first sort of thing you should recognize about consciousness is that consciousness always has a directionality. That is, I'm always only conscious of something. I can never be conscious of everything or nothing, right? Because if I'm conscious of nothing, then that's unconsciousness. But if I'm conscious of everything, well, the problem is I can never, that's not how consciousness works. So if I describe my consciousness, what I notice is that my consciousness sort of jumps around.
Man, I got to pause that, man.
Yeah.
That is false. From your perception of consciousness, is limited because we're fractal beings. But the oversoul has the consciousness of everything. But again,
Correct.
they can't, but again, they can't fathom that idea yet. But I'm going to go ahead
Correct.
and keep rocking.
And it's not confined to a space or even time, right? So I can direct my consciousness to you, right? Hopefully right now you're listening to this video, so your consciousness is directed towards the words I'm saying and to the meaning behind my words, right? But maybe someone walks in while you're watching the video, suddenly you'll look around, and your consciousness will be redirected. And when your consciousness goes this way, no longer will this be in the fore of your consciousness. So consciousness is sort of moving around. There's a directionality to it, and that's always there for consciousness. So that reveals something necessary, a necessary feature about consciousness. So I gave this picture of this, right? So in the picture, there's this guy climbing up on this hill or whatever, this mountain. So it looks like you can, on the one hand, you can say that he looks like he's conscious of the top, but let's ignore him. Or maybe it's a her, I don't know. But think about the photo. When I point my pointer here, I'm directing your consciousness towards the image of the person. When I point my pointer up here, your consciousness is redirected. So notice this directionality of consciousness. This will become the principal feature of consciousness that phenomenology will take as its point of departure for the analysis of phenomena. And this is known as intentionality. We're going to talk a lot about this in the next couple of videos, and we'll even see Husserl referred to it here. But I want to get it out right now that this is the first sort of thing to recognize, and also to recognize that when we describe...
Let me pause that. I don't want to get too heavy on it because I know we'll put a lot of people to sleep with this, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, let me go back to my screen here. Hold on 1 second. All right, we back. I'm gonna let you chime in, but let me kind of dissect and break down what he's saying. So he's trying to they're on the infantile stage of figuring this thing out called consciousness, and they're just figuring out that your awareness is what makes things a reality and what makes things real. Your focus on those particular things. They're not taking into account one thing, the subconscious. The subconscious is aware of everything because that's already connected to the oversoul, the which is the all. Some people call Allah. Some people call, different names. So the subconscious is aware of everything and it's recording everything, whether you're conscious of it or not. So that's one thing they don't keep. Now, intentionality and directionality, what they're talking about as phenomenology, they're studying that I could take your focus and whatever you're focused on, that's what you become. That becomes your reality, and that becomes your particular what you focus on and what you what shapes your vision, if that makes sense. So they're just now figuring this out. Again, phenomenology, with what they're breaking down, and we'll get into this. The definition is they're taking phenomena and studying the outcome of the phenomenon by itself, and not studying the actual individual. Just the phenomena is what I take it
Hmm.
that they mean. I'm gonna let you go in on that, and then we could chime in a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. For the most part, that's basically phenomenology is attempt to intellectualize a concept that I mean, honestly, first of all, phenomenology is being packaged in something different, but this is nothing more than Tahuti.
Right,
If you go back and you look at Tahuti, and I ain't gonna make it a Kemet fest, but just in this particular instance, Tahuti is the actual entity or the energy that they're attempting to intellectualize is what it is. This is the attempt. What I noticed about these videos is it's a big attempt to use big words to describe things and intellectualize a concept that is actually spiritual in nature. It's not a intellectual concept.
right,
Like in that clip, and I had said this in the first week of the There Is No Spoon. Nobody's seen a thing, and this is a phenomenon. Even in the etymology of the word phenomenon, when you take it back, it says appearing to view,
right,
appearing to view something,
right,
which means it's an appearance. People think that they're looking around and they're observing the outside world, when in fact these are all images and thoughts that are being generated within the mind, within the triple stages of the darkness of the mind.
right,
People aren't it's not beams that are shooting out of your eyes and taking stuff in. It's just your eyes, and that's why if there's no light in a room, or there's not ample light in a room, then your eyes are not able to see images. There has to be light to refract off of an object, which comes into your eyes, which goes to the back of your brain. Your brain flips it upside down and sends the signals up to your brain, and then your brain perceives. It gives you an image of what it perceives. It gives you a perception of what is out there. It doesn't show you the actual thing. And this in itself is a phenomenon. Just the act of sight is phenomenon. So but yeah, just breaking it down, man. I'm going back and I'm looking at it. I'm just like, God, this is Tahuti. I was actually looking at I had a link, and it was describing phenomenology, and I mean the description actually intelligent thought. Well, when I say Tahuti first, just to be clear, I'm talking about Thoth. He was represented in ancient Kemet as the ibis-headed bird. He was a lunar deity due to his beak, the shape of his crescent beak,
right.
and he was a symbol of wisdom and intelligent thought. This is no more. It's the same. It's the same package, and we was talking about this 6,000 years ago. So I mean,
Well,
to
more than
me,
that, more than six
it's just
thousand years ago.
more than six
More than six
thousand. But
thousand
just
years
to
ago.
be,
Right.
keep up with their time schedules, is that's all it is. And I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. So obviously, it's kind of like to me, it's kind of like that story of the prodigal son, man. To me, I'm just watching, and it's like you see your son growing and trying to adapt to a higher level of thought.
Right.
So that's pretty much what I'm seeing.
Trying to get it. This is I'm where should I go first with it? Should I go where the tactics that they doing to intellectualize it, or what I see? Let me break it down further as to what they're trying to break down. Which way you want me to go first?
Yeah, intellectualize.
All right. So how they trying to intellectualize it? This is their tactics, and when I say dare, I'm talking about the youngest, of us on the planet, humans, which is basically the Caucasians. What they try to do is they quote these names of these philosophers that had these abstract thoughts, and they quote them as sources to
Mm-hmm.
make themselves sound, you know, um, I guess intelligent. You know, um, and you can't quote this source because the source is already out there, and at Kemet we just anthropomorphize this stuff as different, like the bird and stuff like that. We knew that we couldn't describe it with you can't describe it with any language. Even
Mm-hmm.
the symbol, which is more powerful than language, can't describe the totality of what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna mix the two together. This is nothing but phenomenology is nothing but the breakdown of the higher self, Holy Trinity. Remember, you got the
Mm-hmm.
physical Holy Trinity, which is mother, son. I mean, excuse me, father, son, mother. Right,
Mm-hmm.
father, mother, son.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got the dark matter. The stardust. You have the actual sun, which is soul, and then you have the father, which is the intellect, or the grand the design.
Mm-hmm.
That's the but you have a higher trinity, which is the thinker, the knower, and the doer.
Mm-hmm.
That's within your state of consciousness. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's even in masonry as well. You got the two pillars, Joachim and Boaz, and then you got yourself standing in between, which is the doer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's the state. You got the seen realm and you got the unseen realm. The thinker,
Mm-hmm.
we need light to think. You see what I'm saying? That's what we in quest for here in the physical plane. Light to think, and you need to think the plan in order to bring things to fruition. The knower
Mm-hmm.
already knows it. That's the intuition. That's
Mm-hmm.
the female polarity. The thinker is the
Mm-hmm.
male. We're logic. The knower is the female. That's why females think they know you before you even open your mouth. They're trying to channel in their
Mm-hmm.
intuition.
Right.
So we all, male and female, we all have these energies in all of us, but it's just stronger when you manifest yourself as a female.
Right.
So this knower, that we already know, that's the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
We already know what's exactly happening, and we know, we already, just like the oracle in the Matrix, the oracle represented the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
The architect was the thinker,
Mm-hmm.
and then the doer was Neo. He was the doer.
Yeah. Right.
And see what the Caucasian is missing. There's a fourth element, the observer.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
trinity, and this is in high. Again, I can't. I don't know what I can say and what I can't say, but this is in the high degrees in masonry as well. There's the fourth element, the observer, and that's what we're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
to. I understand there's a trinity within there, but to sit back and shed the human experience and just observe, that's when you get to deify yourself.
Correct. Right. Right on.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but the thinker to know what to do. This is what they're trying to describe. This is all ancient stuff. This is nothing new. So, phenomenology is a new term for ancient Trinity, higher self, Trinity system, or Tahuti, stuff that we just knew. We didn't have to
Correct.
describe it. There's nothing that you can describe it by citing old. Well, this philosopher says this. You know, that's not scholarship. I mean, or
Right.
what they're trying to make scholarship, because I can cite it from a source that makes me more intelligent. False. I'm gonna let you go
Right.
in, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's basically it. And piggybacking off of basically name dropping, and that's the way it works, man. If you drop a name, then it automatically is supposed to carry a certain amount of credence,
right.
or it's supposed to be,
Who is these
whatever.
dudes? Yeah,
Yeah,
like all right,
yeah, like like oh yeah, this guy. But I mean, as soon as you say the name, it's supposed to automatically psychologically have an effect on your mind. Like, oh, it must be true,
right,
or oh, this is
right.
trustworthy information.
Look at the
So
look.
I mean, that's
Not to
it.
cut you off, but look at the game that's ran on you. See, the whole thing was the whole premise of this show is there is no spoon. Really, was supposed to be about phenomenology, but we're going to uncover how these particular certain people that sound intelligent are not intelligent, and there is no spoon of what they're saying. That's because they're taking the truth and trying to intellectualize it. You know, doesn't
Yeah,
make it something new.
right.
Doesn't give you the right to say I invented this or I'm the founder of this. I'm the nah. You taking something ancient and you're rebranding it.
Bro, I looked at it side by side, and it's the same. It's the same exact thing. I'm laughing because I didn't even have to pull up nothing on thought. Or what who they call Hermes Trismegistus thrice great.
Right,
That's who they probably more associate him with. But that came originally from Thoth or Tahuti, which represented intelligent thought. But I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the description of what it is, and I'm like, bro, this is thought.
right,
I mean, this is nothing more than
simple,
this is the point. So yeah, it was kind of cute. I was just looking like, man, it's kind of like when your son's starting to grow up and he do something that kind of, you know what I'm saying, make you kind of proud. Like, oh, look at him, man, he figuring it out.
right.
It was kind of one of those type of deals to
Facts,
me.
facts. I mean, another thing that we don't, I put alongside like a mic. I don't know if you remember those old machines back in the day, the microfilm where you where or the it was the projector where you put the little microfilm on top of it and it projects to the wall. We had those in elementary
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
I like to
right.
place one on top of that. I call what understanding, overstanding, and understanding. And I
Mm-hmm.
talked about this on an earlier show with one of my brothers, and that's the Trinity as well. Understanding is the subconscious. Overstanding is the conscious, and understanding is the doer. The Trinity, the Son, the action alchemization of both, and actually putting it into action.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're trying to do right now, they're trying to um, overstand Tahuti,
Right,
and they rebranded it as phenomenology.
right.
They're trying to intellectualize it. They
Mm-hmm.
hadn't got to the alchemic part where they can understand it and actually use this
Mm-hmm.
in their everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trinity as far as what I like to put in the under, over, and inner. You know,
Right.
and until and that's we talked about this on the phone the other day. Like a lot of people you could talk to and you could try to right brain them to death, and until you alchemize this, until you internalize this, you won't get it.
You can't get
You
it.
can't get it. You can't you won't So it's up to them to internalize this. You know, just all right. Just because I'm trying to break this down and trying to understand this, that's the first step. But the real step is actually putting it into action, putting it to fruition.
That's a fact. Doing the work, and that was a very appropriate choice of words to even choose alchemy because that was thought, and that was thought's whole thing. The Emerald tablets. That's one of the biggest sciences that alchemists in actual practice, making tinctures and actually bringing stuff back to its natural state, or if it be the process of physical alchemy, the process of turning man into God, base metals into gold, whatever you want to look at it like that. But
Right.
yeah, man,
Turning
that was thought.
thoughts
That's the
to
alchemy.
actual action. That's what thought. Actually turning
Yeah,
thoughts to action.
thought and action.
Right. That's
Correct.
the biggest one of the
Yeah.
biggest alchemist states. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're not just thinking about it because our imagination is everything, but actually,
It's actually magic.
huh? That's not
That's actually magic.
actually bringing it into fruition. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's just what this is like, and that's what the key to this whole third density plane is to actually bring things into fruition. You know,
Yeah.
um, so the premise there is no spoon, and we hadn't even spoke about, part of the video was about time, and we hadn't even got to that because it should be elementary that we all know that time is an illusion. Time is
Time doesn't
perception.
exist.
Time doesn't
It's
go linear.
relative.
Time only goes linear. We only perceive it as linear in this particular plane. Everybody knows that
Mm-hmm.
time is a spiral. I just wanted to address that. Oh, y'all didn't talk about time. It's so elementary. I'm not going to spend that much on time because everybody that knows that's. I don't want to say everybody. Let me rephrase that. Most people that's on a certain amount of understanding, understands, and overstands that time is all about perception. The
Right.
thing that why we have a Rolex watch and the sundials, it was our attempt to understand this phenomenon.
Right.
We already understood it coming from the stardust, the female attribute, coming into the male or the masculine or the thinker, this third density. We created these sundials to try to chart and measure
Mm-hmm.
this phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
That's phenomenology.
Right.
Back then, this phenomenon we call time. We try to measure it. We try to intellectualize it, and we come up with watches,
Right.
and we miss the whole thing. Oh, it has to go because our limited comprehension, being a fractal being. Oh, it has to go forward only.
Right. Right.
False.
False.
When you internalize it, when you get to the understanding, time goes in a spiral. You feel what I'm saying? And I can time travel. I
Mm-hmm.
time traveled last night. You know, I know it's crickets on that one, but you can time
I'm,
travel.
I'm, I'm, I was waiting. I'm like, okay, come
You
on
can,
with
you
it.
can
Like,
time travel
okay.
anytime you want to. Don't forget that man is mind.
Mm-hmm.
How you perceive anything is what it is. So I can go back to past events and I can change them in my
Right.
mind.
Right.
I didn't say that. I said this.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who to say is it real? If I can get enough people to say that I did this, it becomes real.
Right.
If it happened or not, fact or fiction.
Yeah.
Nah, I said this. You don't remember? Yeah, he did say this. Yeah, he did say
Right.
that. Nobody to rebuttal. And
Mm-hmm.
it's make it so.
Yeah. Facts.
You feel what I'm saying?
It's good.
Same thing. I can go in the future and I can imagine something and I can make it so. Look at what we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
last week with the occult rituals.
Mm-hmm.
That's future time traveling.
Right.
I can put this out there and I can make it so.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the mind. I'm gonna let you chime in on that. I don't want to, go too hard on that.
No, I mean, like you said, that's it. Like it's all perception. Time doesn't even really exist. It's just a way for us in our experience to be able to explain, like you said, the phenomena or to be able to associate it because somebody on planet X, you know what I'm saying? Our time is irrelevant to them because our time is subjected to us because of our positioning to the sun. That's how we're able to define time or to break it down. But in actuality, like you said, there's multiple realities, or like in the movie The Matrix, when he went in there with the programmer, it was all these different versions of reality all going on at the same time, but you had the one version where there was a glitch and the one was able to go and go and defeat the machines.
No,
So
that's false. You got to watch that
what you
again.
mean?
He never defeated the machines ever.
Well, he should at the end. What I'm talking about when he only had his third eye and he realized he didn't have to fight. All he did was extend his hand and and all of them dropped down. He didn't even have to. He
Now,
didn't even have to fight.
remember in the Matrix, he made a deal with the machines. Um, The machines never defeated. The machines actually won. Look at it again. You know,
The
so
machines won.
yes, he made a deal with the machines. There was the new Matrix starting over. Remember at the last scene,
Oh, at the end,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
this
the
is the
little
new
girl on the
Matrix. This
bench.
was the seventh Matrix that they restart that Smith was trying to destroy. They rehashed the program. Boom. And they asked him the new program, the rogue program. Remember, was the little Indian girl, which symbolized love.
Yeah,
That was the first program that was created out of love inside of the Matrix. That was a new variable that they couldn't, the architect couldn't grasp, and that's why him and Trinity, he couldn't grasp that idea of love, making him propel him to do this. So
mm-hmm,
that particular program, the Indian girl, represented that love aspect. That's why the parents was two programs, and they had her in
mm-hmm,
exile. And she created
mm-hmm,
that rainbow. She's like, I created that for Neo.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah,
she
yeah.
and the Oracle asked her, which is the subconscious, the female attribute. What about the ones that want to leave? He said the architect said, I'll let them leave.
Mm-hmm.
See, the whole thing is this was the whole thing that was deep about the Matrix. The people in Zion don't realize they were still in the Matrix. They thought they were free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what was deep about it. They celebrate, yeah, I can't believe it. I knew this day would come, but the whole time behind the scenes, he made a deal with the machines. He didn't realize until the end that even the outside world, you were in a version of the Matrix.
Mm.
You feel what I'm saying? They
That's
thought they were
crazy.
free. They fighting the whole time. They already knew your step.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't escape it. But in their mind, they had to play this game. That's what kept it going. That's what people needed, that hope. Certain people needed that hope in order to keep them running.
Mm-hmm.
So they created another a matrix inside a matrix.
Mm.
That's why he could control shit on the other side. He figured it
Mm.
out at the end.
It's all another program.
So it was on the program.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, that's live. That's live.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I gotta go back and analyze that
yeah,
one
you
more
gotta
time.
look at it again. Nah, they never defeated the machines. The machines just realized they needed his help, and which he was designed for anyway to capture Agent Smith. Agent Smith
Mm.
was the real hero.
Mm.
Agent Smith wanted to delete the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Really, Neo just wanted to free his people, which was another program inside the Matrix. He was playing his part. The really
Right.
rogue program was Agent Smith.
Right.
Agent Smith was trying to delete that bad boy.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Neo was
Mm-hmm.
doing what he was programmed to do.
Mm. That's it.
You feel what I'm saying? Because look at when the architect got it. When the architect was in that room, he's like, "Yeah, man, you're not the only one. There was six before you. This is how it's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. Blah 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 blah. You think you got a choice, but you don't."
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he did exactly
Right.
what he said he was gonna do.
Yep.
Don't forget, you
Yep.
can't you can't escape the grand architect. You know what
That's a
I'm saying?
fact.
It says it in
That's
the
a fact.
Quran. It says in the Quran, the first surah, man, Allah is the best plan, the best knower.
Mm-hmm.
You can't escape yourself.
Yep. Fact.
You know what I'm saying? So you
Fact.
can't. How you gonna outsmart yourself?
Fact. I was there. Yeah. Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? This is going. He laid it down. This is about to happen. Boop 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 boop. You think you got a choice? This is all mathematics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? But we got to play this
Yeah.
role in order to like see. That's the thing is that particular experience or phenomenon, what we call humanity, has to be a certain way
Mm-hmm.
in order for it to feel real, or quote unquote real. It has to be a certain
Mm-hmm.
way. That's just what it is. That's just just like when the sun has to orbit or be a certain in a certain position in order for it to work.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Go ahead, go ahead. I don't want Dominic. Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead, go ahead, run it, man. What you think?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, yeah. That's it. It's all perception, man, or it's all subjective. Time is completely it's a fabricated thing. Because in the grand scheme of in the universe, time time doesn't even it doesn't even exist. It's not a real thing. It's just a way for us in our experience to wrap our minds around what we're doing
Right.
and what we're
To
going through.
overstand.
Yeah.
Right. To try to
Right.
overstand. What you can't overstand this. You got to enter and
Yeah.
understand this. And
Yeah.
once you understand, boom, you understand that. Hey, I came in my mind. Why did I create this? And why did I come?
Mm-hmm.
What did I come here to do? You see what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
even they see that in the Matrix. Like a lot of teachings in the Matrix. Like man, um, what he said? The Oracle said you already made your choice. You're just trying to find out why you made that choice.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know. So it really is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a choice. If is it a choice?
I mean, yeah,
You feel me? That's the whole thing that I'm to the level like, is it a choice or it just is? ISIS is what it
mm-hmm.
is.
It is what it is.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think the ego, the free will thing, I think that's ego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we just don't want to feel like puppets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the ego telling us we got free will. When this is all harmony. It's all a mathematical equation going in perfect harmony exactly how it's supposed to go. And we think we got free will. And Allah is the best planner and best knower. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But you smarter than
Straight
Allah.
up,
Come on.
man.
So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
fake him out. I'm gonna go. I'm a pump fake, and I'm gonna go to the hole. Nah, you know
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. Ha! Come on, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man. You feel me?
Yeah.
We got to think about what we
Absolutely.
really be talking about, bro. We got free will, so we smarter than the Most High. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I am the Most High, and I dumb myself down to feel something, but I got a
Mm-hmm.
free will. I'm like a child. Come on, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What the conscious community be talking about, bro? What a lot of so-called conscious people be talking about, bro? It's simple mathematics,
Yeah.
man. We all part of us.
Yeah.
We strings in an orchestra.
Right. Right.
You feel me?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just one string, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can just,
Yeah.
but I'm not. I won't play B flat, so I'm gonna play B flat.
Like, yeah, okay.
Nah, you meant to play B flat at this particular time
Right.
to make it sound like this.
Right.
You feel me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
How you, man? I don't get these people, man. How you gonna say that this ain't perfect?
Exactly.
So you critiquing the Most High?
Exactly. Exactly.
This is perfection.
Yeah. It's already perfect. You try to perfect it. Yeah.
You know, we trying to perceive it as perfection. We trying to get it. Um, we trying to. It's the ego. We trying to get it better for ourselves because we comfort at it. Try to make it more and more comfortable for ourselves. If that was
Mm-hmm.
the case, if we got it to where everybody's comfortable, then what do we need to experience it? Why do we have to come here?
Right.
There would be no need for it.
Yeah. There would be no comfort. If there was no discomfort,
Right,
there would be no comfort. It would just be.
right. It would just be.
It would just be. Yeah. There isn't. Yeah.
And how do we know we not comfortable? How do you know isn't comfortable?
Right.
It's all on your
Perception.
perception.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a child that got autism, the world is evil.
That's your perception.
That's your perception.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they say. Like, even the American Revolution, patriots to us, terrorists to the British.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? Even though that's fake, but just like Al Qaeda heroes in their spot, terrorists to
Right.
us.
Terrorist us.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all on perception,
Yeah.
man. Go run it, man. I don't want to dominate, man. Run something.
No, I mean that's really it, man. That's really it. Like it has to exist. You put a regular person that's sober in a room full of drugs, and to them that's hell. That's their perception. This is hell. But you put a drug addict in a room full of drugs,
Right.
and oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's going
It's
down.
hell.
His
Yeah.
perception, he gonna look at it completely different.
Right.
And this is the thing, and it all comes down to that. That's why it's such a phenomenon. The act of sight is a phenomenon in itself. The simple fact that you're appearing, it's appearing that you're viewing these things, but that's why three people can look at the same thing and each describe three different
Right.
things. And it's because, like, even as a kid, I used to always ask that question. People used to think I was crazy. I guess they didn't understand what I was asking. But I used to say that. I used to be like, man, how do I know that what I'm seeing is green is actually the same color that you seeing is green?
Right.
How do I know? Like my brain was already asking these questions because I understood that we're not actually seeing what's present. We're just seeing our mind's interpretation
Right.
of what is
And
present. So it's just
to go a little bit deeper, don't forget about the connected the collective consciousness. That's why we all see as green, because we're the same person. You know what I
right,
mean? And we all agreed that this was
right,
green.
right.
You feel what I'm saying?
It's a dream, and that's well put.
You see what I'm saying? So we agreed that this was going to be, a piece of paper. We agreed that this was going to be called a pen.
Right.
And to write with. You wrote stuff down in order to capture thoughts at that moment. All this was a grand scheme of things that's constantly being built and evoluting, to something, that we wanted as a big playground. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, and to capture what you were saying earlier, about how people try to damn, I lost my thought. How people try to damn, I lost my train of thought, but it was something I wanted to address before you go too further on that. Damn, I lost my train of thought, but people are trying to intellectualize stuff um,
Mm-hmm.
that's already supposed to be on the knowing side.
Right.
On the
Right.
subconscious side, you already know this stuff. It's already in your DNA.
Yeah.
And people that could tap into certain stuff that's in their DNA, they call them geniuses. That's why they call them gene geniuses. So you can tap
Right.
into your genes and unlock these particular stuff, these known that all of us know, and utilize this and bring
Mm-hmm.
that into fruition. Skip the thinker part and just
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Now you have to overstand it. They could, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Boom. That's why they call them geniuses. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
They're just doing,
People. A lot of people.
yeah,
A lot of people need that intellectual stimulus just so they can feel like so they can feel like they've done something. If people aren't intellectually stimulated enough, then they feel as if they haven't done something instead of just knowing what it is and
I,
applying it.
I got a theory that the intellectual stuff is new on the planet.
Right.
I think that just came about, with really Kemet, the rise of Kemet.
Mm-hmm.
I think we just, especially in different ages, we just knew what we knew and
Right.
we rocked it. We
Right.
didn't have to write nothing down because we know how to communicate with everybody, telepathically. We didn't
Right.
have to write nothing down.
Right.
You
Right.
see what I'm saying? I think
Yeah.
we these technologies, we didn't have to document because everybody had the same memory. In fact, they trying to. I was watching the TED talk the other day. I should play that clip. That clip was fire. What they're trying to do now is insert chips into the brain where you could download information. So everybody's information, the smartest person, you could just download the information and you know what that person knows.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Google basically in the brain.
Right.
I mean, and you can download that whatever you need to know. So boom, and everybody have a collective consciousness. You just get the latest upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
See,
That's deep.
technology, they're trying to replace technology when we already had technologies of the body and of the mind already. They're trying to make it,
Right.
they're trying to overstand it, and they're bringing it
Exactly.
to fruition not naturally, but artificially. The artificial
Then
intelligence.
yeah, and it'll crash. And it'll crash. It'll act as a cancer, just like everything else does, and it eventually will weed itself out of existence
Well,
because it had no.
that's what the Matrix is about. Think about it. Artificial intelligence overthrew
Right.
real intelligence, natural,
Yup.
and it was running the world
Yup.
artificially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're headed to that now.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So this
Yeah.
is the Matrix is a story about when we let our creation
Mm-hmm.
take over
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yeah.
We all know
Again.
what the first creation that we let take over.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So boom, that's the Tower of Babel. When you think you could, I could get to them by building up technologies. Can't do it. You're off too short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a cancer. Anything that is created outside of the natural law of the universe, it'll act. It's like, and that's how I describe it. Like, people always say, man, in ancient times they didn't have this or they didn't have that, and you looking at it and it's like, man, look at you telling me that they're over here doing all these things. They're completing feats that we couldn't replicate today. Well, we could replicate today, but that mainstream science and technology wouldn't be able to recreate today. And it's like maybe it's not that they didn't know how to have it. It's that they had the common sense not to have it because they were in tune with nature. They wouldn't do something that went directly against nature, something such as destructive as the things that we do today, like creating plastics. If you put a paper bag on the ground, it's eventually going to deteriorate and go back into the
Right,
earth.
right,
It'll eventually return back to it. However, plastic, which is man-made and created, that shit's just gonna sit there and it's gonna just stay there it's just like a cancer
right,
cell.
right,
It'll never return to that which it was unless you rearrange the chemical structure of it by either heating it or whatever the case may be.
right.
But it's man-made and it's created and it acts as a cancer. That's why it doesn't vibe with nature. That's why it don't congeal. And that's the whole thing about it. And that's yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
like
yeah,
I said, I mean, if you look at the etymology of the word humble, humble means to stay grounded, stay near the earth.
yeah,
If you get
right.
outside of nature, too much natural Tahuti,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when you're gonna fall. You feel
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? The Tower of Babel. That's when the arrogance come in. I think I can outsmart. You know what I mean? The Most High. I think I can outsmart the
Mm-hmm.
architect.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, good luck.
That's what the Matrix is about. And then Neo had to realize, let me go ahead and make the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the party going.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and serve my purpose. You
Mm-hmm.
feel what I'm saying? Couldn't do it.
Right.
But the whole thing was, like I said, the Oracle prophesied. Was the Oracle setting them up too?
Right.
You feel what? Don't forget she a program.
She's part of the
She
program.
part of the program. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff gotta be, bro. People. That's why I say, people complaining. They want this and want that. How much better you want it? Then if you want it a certain
Right.
way, won't you make it a certain way?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I don't get people. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So this is the thing. Like I said, well, for not back bringing it back full circle to phenomenology or the latest, what they're trying to alchemize, they're trying to overstand this stuff that we know already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the whole thing is, what are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna be the doer instead of the thinker?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can think about stuff all day. But what are you gonna do with it?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
the whole point of this. And the third density, what you gonna do with it? That's why we
Mm-hmm.
had a body. If we ain't have, if we didn't, if we wasn't here to do stuff, we wouldn't need a body. Because
Right.
I can think about stuff without moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I need a body to do something.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I don't need a body to know. I don't need a body to think. I need a body to do. So
Mm-hmm.
we got bodies. What are we here to do? We're not here to twerk and boys laying up watching movies and what I'm saying, smoking and drinking ourselves to death. What are we here to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll go ahead. I don't want to keep it too long. I know you got to rock at 1 o'clock. How long we been on?
Let me see. We going in. I can't see the time on it.
But I'll go ahead and give you the last word. Go ahead, chime in on that. Then we can do the outro. Then we can rock it out, man. I think we exhausted.
Okay.
I mean, a couple of things I missed because I had this point I wanted to make, but it escapes me right now. But go ahead, run it. Last start, and then go ahead and take them out where they can find you, so on and so forth. Plug your channel too.
I mean, one thing, man, is just looking at it again, it's like I'm not gonna say phenomenology. I say the P word because it's just another packaging for something that already existed. So I'm not saying that. It's not a new concept, but it's good for those that need it in this form, so it could easily be digested. I guess for the conscious, because uh, it's more of a, like you said, it's an intellectual thing as far as an application or a spiritual thing. And another thing, man, I was lit up. I broke it down into syllables
Mm-hmm.
and looking at Finn. I believe Finn meant Finn broke down to shining. Om is Om, the symbolic of the three major Hindu deities,
Mm-hmm.
or the universal frequency. N is for the letter N, and Al is it's interchangeable with L,
The
E L.
ELD. You know,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Al
And I
means be
found
as
that.
well, like duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting, just breaking down that word, like the shining universal frequency, basically, is what it would take down, what it would translate to.
Right.
And that's thought is frequency, thought vibration, man.
Right.
Man, but that, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting look, it's an interesting take on a original concept, but yeah.
Right. Where can they find you and plug your channel and everything?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Chop the Barber 360, Chop underscore the underscore Barber 360 on Instagram, on YouTube. Catch me Born Sangoma. I'm putting up some new content, new videos. Uh, Going in, I'm gonna do a video on the occult soon. Um, Break that down. I've been working on that actually for the past 2 nights, so I'm gonna try to get that all the way concise and consolidated so I can upload that. Um, But yeah, that's pretty much it. Roosevelt's Barbershop. Man, come check us out. That's about it, man.
Gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead chime in the last particular thought, and then I'm gonna tell you where you can find me at. I mean, again, everything is mine. That's one of the seven hermetic principles. Really, is not hermetic. It goes before that. It was the ancient Kemet before that. But they rebranded again. With the rebranding, they call it hermetic principles, which is
Mm-hmm.
one of the students of Imhotep, um, Commission philosophies and spiritual sciences. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but all is mind, all is mental. Everything is mental. Man is mine. When you read your scriptures, the Torah, Injil, the Pentateuch, the Quran, replace man with mine, and then it'll open up a whole new universe to you. Um, if you look at it through that perception, so man is mine. Man is not a physical being. Um, I cannot cut my brain open and see thoughts. Um,
Right.
who's to say what the brain manufactures thoughts anyway? We're
Right.
assuming that. We don't know where thoughts come from. We don't know where this
Mm-hmm.
little voice is coming from that's guiding me. We think that it's in our head because that's just what we're taught. This learned behavior. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't know where this is coming from. But we know this is our guide. This is our avatar. This is um, our representative, our collect, our perceived um, image of ourself. So none of this is really, like I said. Some people say a computer program, but this was before computers. I definitely think it is a program of a higher intelligence that we can't fathom, not in this human experience, because that's one of the covenants that we're under. When we come to
Mm-hmm.
the human experience, we wipe our memory clean. Because if we knew it all, then we couldn't experience it because we know what's gonna happen.
Right.
So
Right.
and it's the same principle. Like I said, consciousness is everything we see, or we think that the art of seeing is a phenomenon with itself because we're taking energy and we're making these atoms that's grouped together, and we're seeing something that's really just a bunch of atom collective energy together,
Right.
and it's
Right.
all being processed almost instantly.
Right.
And what we're supposedly seeing is stuff that we all agreed upon. And then it's all under this mask of what we perceive as time, and what we try again,
Mm-hmm.
another thing that we try to intellectualize and put a brand on, which
Mm-hmm.
the ancient Kemites just it was an attribute of the Most High that we just knew,
Mm-hmm.
that was there. When the problem
Mm-hmm.
becomes in when we try to be the big head scientist, try to be the Jacob, the Yakub, and try to
Right.
label stuff and try to try to categorize stuff.
Right.
Science. What we call science is really just another religion. Just think about it.
Right.
They're they're the modern perception of science is all right. If I could do the same thing 9 times and it equals the results, then it must be true.
Mm-hmm.
That's their science. If I get three,
Right.
four people to agree upon it, then it's a fact. That's
There
their
you go.
science. False.
So be it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is they left out the human thing. I could get paid, or I could um, be swayed to see your point, whether it be by force,
Right.
persuasion, or whatever.
Right.
And if I could get enough people to run with me, then it becomes fact.
Right.
Just like we used to, I told you on the phone, I'm originally from Louisiana. On Bourbon Street, we used to have this game we used to play as teenagers. We used to grab about 4 or 5 of us, and we just start running. And before you knew it, it was a stampede on Bourbon Street
Mm-hmm.
because people didn't know what they were running for.
Right.
So does that make does it make it a real threat? Was that phenomenon really there? Yeah, but it's not what you
Right.
perceived it would be.
Right.
So
Right.
people figured that out and say, all right, if I can get enough people running, then it becomes true.
There it
Here
is.
goes your religions. Here goes the control factor, and
Mm-hmm.
they guise it under the name science.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna keep you too long, man. I just want you to think about that, man. There is no spoon, bro. Um, you know, Brandon B. Dixon again. I'm a serial entrepreneur, published author. My book, "Sales: The Nucleus of Any Profession," is out right now. I did that on the overstanding side, so you can make you some money. I know y'all stuck in this particular paradigm of this thing is real, Babylon is real. Like I gotta you to do this to actually eat. Try it for try it for 1 week. And like, well, they're not
Mm,
gonna try that. I know people not gonna quit their job. I know people just. I guarantee you will not starve. I guarantee
that's a
you will be
fact.
not homeless. But we so
Yeah.
scared, you know, you'll never figure that out. So people just gonna keep that being that hamster on that running wheel. But anyway, if y'all want
Mm,
to be that hamster on that running wheel, I'm gonna teach you how to run smart. If you
mm,
want to be asleep, I got the best pillow. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
If you, so here you go. But my next book, I am the book, and that's my first time ever announcing it publicly. Because it's almost
Mm,
finished, I can go ahead and say it now, but it's coming out real soon. I'm diving deep into metaphysical on this particular book. I'm going hard on it, so peep that out. And a lot of the talking points that I'm talking about right now is in the book. So, peep that out. That's coming out real soon. Gonna be available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, so on and so forth. With that,
mm.
we're gonna say peace, man. Remember, God is a verb, man. Period. So
Period.
we're gonna say peace, bro.
Peace.
Peace. Hold on, let me see something.